told you everything you want but you don't have in this life comes down to confidence. And the women that can tap into this frequency are able to create magnetic confidence so strong that they can literally attract their dreams at will. If somebody told me this was possible just a few years ago, I would have been like, okay, be realistic. But now, 4 years later, I live the life I've always manifested as a little girl. I run a multi-million-dollar company, I built the body of my dreams, and I overall truly became my own case study. But unfortunately, I didn't get here as easily as my younger self would like to believe. I wish I could just tell you to go write affirmations on your bathroom mirror, manifest for 30 minutes a night, and by doing so, all of your dreams would magically just become reality. But trust me, I did that and none of it worked. What did, however, work is something I call the 5 filters to magnetic confidence. And I actually picked this up from a few different successful women I ran into a couple years back. But once I started using them, my dreams, they literally came to me so effortlessly. It felt like I was almost cheating. Now, the first one is the detachment filter. And the detachment filter says that the person who needs the outcome the least has the most power over how it goes. And that's the entire principle. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it in any area of your life. I mean, think about the last time you bought something and you could feel how much they needed the sale. Their voice was maybe a little bit too fast, or they were a little too eager when you said something positive, and they started overselling the second you raised an objection. Now, think about the last time you bought something from somebody who clearly did not need your business. She probably asked good questions, she let the silence sit, she almost seemed, I would say, indifferent about whether you said yes. And that's the girl you bought from. Probably more than you were planning to. And that's not a coincidence nor a personality difference. It's just psychology. When you need an outcome, your nervous system signals out through dozens of micro behaviors that the other person reads instantly without even knowing that they're reading it. Whether that's the pace of your voice, the tightness of your smile, the follow-up text that comes 90 minutes too soon. People feel that kind of grasping the same way animals feel a predator in the room. And the response is overall the same. They pull back. This is why you can be the most qualified woman for the job and still not get it. Or maybe the most beautiful woman in the room and still not get approached. Or to top that off, the best closer on the team and still lose the deal. You didn't lose because you were not enough, but because you were grasping, and grasping repels the exact thing you're reaching for every single time. So here's the reframe. Confidence is not the absence of wanting. It's the willingness to lose. The magnetic woman wants the outcome just as badly as the chasing woman does. The only difference is she's decided in advance that she's willing to walk away without it. And that single decision is what drops the grasping out of her body before she ever opens her mouth. The practice for the detachment filter I call is the walkaway rehearsal. 60 seconds before any high-stake interaction, whether it's a sales call, an interview, maybe a first date, or a hard conversation, say out loud exactly what you're willing to lose. I am willing to lose this deal. I am willing to lose this man's attention. I'm willing to lose this offer, whatever it may be. Now, it's gonna feel insane the first time because every part of your brain is gonna be screaming that you don't want to lose it. But that's the whole point. Saying it out loud is what releases the grip from your nervous system before the other person ever sees you. And the version of you that walks in after running this rehearsal is a completely different woman than the one who skipped it. And that brings us to our second filter, the rep filter, which says that confidence is not built by feeling ready. It's built by doing the thing on proof. And that's the entire mechanism. Your brain, you see, it builds its identity from evidence, not from affirmations. You can write "I am confident" on your bathroom mirror every morning for 10 years, but you'll still feel the exact same way you did the day you started, because your brain does not care about what you wrote on the mirror. Your brain knows what you did yesterday and the day before that, no matter how you felt. And that's the only thing it cares about. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your brain logs it as evidence that you are a woman who keeps her word. But every time you break one, your brain logs it as evidence that you're a woman who does not. Over thousands of these tiny logs, your brain builds a picture of who you are. And that picture is what becomes your confidence or your lack of it. So if you tell yourself one night that it's time to make a change this week, let's say you might wake up at 6, or you might apply to 10 sales jobs, or do a workout, eat clean. And that day is one piece of proof that you are who you say you are. But the next morning, you hit snooze, or you skip the workout, or you eat the thing you said you were not gonna eat, and maybe you apply to 2 jobs instead of 10. You're gonna feel terrible. And that's not because you had a bad week, but because you just handed your brain 4 pieces of evidence in 36 hours that you are a woman who breaks promises to herself. And that evidence walks into every interview with you for the next month. This is also why you can't shortcut your way to confidence by buying a new outfit, or losing 10 pounds, or getting a new boyfriend. None of those things give your brain the evidence it needs. The only thing that gives your brain that evidence is you doing the unsexy thing on the day you did not feel like doing it. And that's the rep. And the rep is what builds the woman. So you don't get confident and then take action. You take action scared, and the confidence is a receipt your brain hands you afterward. And the practice for the rep filler I call is the unsexy hour. You pick 1 hour of one day this week where you commit to doing the thing that you have been avoiding the most, regardless of how you feel when the hour starts. Maybe that's the cold call you've been putting off, or the post you've been too scared to publish, or the conversation you've been dodging. Now, you don't have to do it every day for a month. You just have to do it for 1 hour, one time this week. Because the second you do it once, when you didn't feel like it, your brain logs that as evidence, and evidence is what becomes the seed of every confident decision you make for the rest of the year. Now, the third filter is the standard filter. And this one says that your desires cannot chase you into a life that is already full of the wrong things. Empty slots are the only condition under which a right thing can ever land in your life. And most women never have an empty slot because they say yes to everything that comes their way out of fear of what the empty slot might mean about them. Every yes you give something below your standards takes a slot on your calendar, or in your relationships, or in your mental bandwidth. It takes a slot that a yes at your standard could have filled. You'll either take the job because at least it's a job, you'll date the man because at least he's interested, or you keep the friend because at least she's a friend. And then you wonder why it feels like you're settling in life instead of building. And the reason it feels that way is because every slot is already taken by the wrong thing. So the right one has nowhere to go. Okay, picture this. You have a beautiful walk-in closet, okay? Every single time you say yes to something below your standard, it's the same as you hanging up another piece of clothing that you just bought because you kind of like. Or maybe it's one of those shirts that your mom bought you and you were like, Mom, why would you buy me this? I would never actually buy this, but you have to take it because you can't say no to your mom because she did something nice for you. You know what I mean? But then 6 months later, you finally found the piece of clothing or the dress that you've been dying for forever. Maybe you saved up enough to buy it or somebody gifted it for you. But then you go to hang it up in your closet and there's nowhere for it to go because your closet is already jam-packed with discounted pieces or pieces that you've settled for. And now you have to physically pull everything out or physically get rid of everything just to make room for the one piece that you actually love. You didn't end up with a closet full of average pieces because you weren't good enough. You just ended up like that because you kept filling it with space instead of protecting it for what you actually love. And there you go. Now you have a chopped closet. So empty slots, they're not a sign that something's wrong with your life. They're actually the only reason the right things ever get a chance to show up. Now, here's what I want you to do before any high-stake interaction this week, whether it's a sales call, a first date, maybe you got an interview, just any hard conversation, anything at all. Okay? Before you say yes to anything for the next 30 days, whether it's a date, a job, coffee, a friendship, anything, you ask yourself one question. Am I saying yes to this because I actually want this? Or am I saying yes to this because I'm scared of what the empty slot means about me? If the answer is the second one, the slot stays empty. You're probably gonna feel a little bit uncomfortable the first few times you sit with the empty slots instead of filling it. And that discomfort is your old standards trying to pull you back. You have to sit through it anyway, because what eventually walks into that empty slot is the version of your life that you actually wanted. And that leads us directly to the fourth filter, which is the receiving filter. And what it comes down to is that you can literally build the most magnetic life on earth, but still somehow repel everything in it because you've never learned how to hold on to what arrives. And this, almost nobody talks about this filter, but it's the one that explains why most women have everything on paper, but they still feel like their life is leaking. You see, the thing is, most women were trained to give. For example, we're trained to be helpful, agreeable, we're trained to give the compliment back, or to be the most modest, or never take up too much space. So when something actually good arrives, whether it's, let's say, somebody complimented you, or you actually close the deal, or you get a huge commission check, or the client is ready to buy, our nervous system has no idea what to do with it. We'll talk a closing prospect out of buying because the deal felt too easy, or we're second guessing ourselves the second a commission check comes in. We just go and spend it the same week it lands. We'll tell ourselves that we don't deserve it, or that it's gonna be taken away. Or maybe you get a compliment and you're like, did they really mean it? You're second guessing if somebody meant the compliment they just gave you. And what happens for a lot of women is the thing that just walked into their life, it walks right back out, because the woman who attracted it, they didn't have the confidence to hold it. Confidence in receiving is completely separate from confidence in building. You can be the hardest worker in the room or the smartest woman on the team, maybe even the most qualified candidate for everything, and still feel like a fraud the second something good actually shows up. Because you see, you've built the confidence to chase it, but never the confidence to keep it. Do you guys ever notice why you love the chase? The second something good happens, you're like, I don't know what to do, and you pull back. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is also why some women hit 50K months and immediately spend it and they go back to being broke, because the version of them that earned it does not feel confident enough to be the version who also keeps it. Or why some women finally get the close, the biggest deal of their life, and then they panic on the follow-up call because the confidence, it cracks the second the win is real. You see, for some of y'all, the chase was or is never the problem. The confidence to hold the win, that's always been the problem. So here's what I want you to take from this. The confidence to receive is not a smaller skill than the confidence to chase. It's actually the harder one. And it's also the one that decides whether anything you build actually stays in your life. So here's what I want you to start practicing this week. The next time somebody gives you anything, whether it's a compliment, a gift, an opportunity, any kind of attention whatsoever, okay? Your only job is to say thank you and stop. This means no deflecting or firing a compliment back, which I know a lot of us do, but trust me, you can't do it, or shrinking it. Please don't shrink it. For example, don't be like, oh, this good thing, or oh, I got lucky, or oh, you're too kind. None of that, okay? Just thank you, and that's it. The first few times you do this, it's gonna feel a little painful because every part of you is gonna be like, I wanna give the energy back, or downplay what they just said, or downplay what you just received, but don't. You have to learn how to sit in that discomfort and let yourself actually take it. Because those 10 seconds of sitting still are still the rep that trains you how to hold what you've built instead of pushing it away. And that brings us to the fifth filter and the last filter, the rebound filter. This is the filter that decides whether everything we just talked about will actually stick. Because the 24 hours after a no is where the confidence is usually installed. Now, every other filter we just covered gets tested in this exact window. So, girl, if you crack, every previous rep, it gets undone. So listen up. If you hold, every precious rep gets reinforced. Every time you send the follow-up text you did not need to send, or drop your price to keep the deal alive, your brain, it logs another piece of evidence that you are a woman who breaks under rejection. And that evidence, it will literally walk behind you into every interaction with you, okay? The magnetic woman is not magnetic because she doesn't not feel rejection. She feels it just as hard as you do. The only difference is she's decided in advance that the no is not gonna break her standard. And that's not because she's heartless, but because she knows that the second she chases, she just told her own brain that her standard was negotiable. And her standard is the only actual thing attracting everything she wants. So here's what I want you to start doing the next time you take any no in any area of your life or any sort of rejection. For the next 24 hours after that no or after rejection, you do nothing towards that specific outcome. You're not gonna send a follow-up text, you're not gonna drop your price, you're not gonna explain yourself or over-explain. You just keep your day exactly as it was before the no or before the rejection came in. And that hold, that's the rep. And if you do enough of these reps, your nervous system is gonna start flinching at no's or start really overthinking rejection, which is the exact moment confidence becomes literally unshakable for you. That's also the exact moment the desires you used to chase, they'll start chasing you instead. But even if you run all 5 of these filters perfectly, the place they actually compound into, and the version of you that future yeses chase, is when you actually put them inside a real skill with real stakes, the ones that pay you while you build them. And the skill that almost every magnetic woman I know has built her whole confidence around is remote sales. I did the exact same thing when I went from doing door-to-door sales to transitioning into remote high-ticket sales, where now I train hundreds of men and women into remote high-ticket sales, and we place them on high-earning job opportunities where they're making 10, 20, 30K plus a month in remote high-ticket sales. And if you want to do the same thing, I break down in this video right here exactly what remote sales is, why it's the unfair advantage that almost nobody teaches women, and how to start building real income from it without having to quit your job first. So click on the video and I'll see you there.